It's 6:30 local time, the 17th of October 2025. In the narrow waters of the Taiwan Strait, USS Higgins and HMS Richmond cut through gray morning haze. Radar screens flicker multiple contacts, closing fast from the west. Air tracks, bearing 270. The call snaps across the bridge. Alarms echo through steel corridors. Sailors sprint to stations, sealing hatches. Outside, low clouds hide shadows moving fast. People's Liberation Army patrol aircraft and a Type 52D destroyer matching every turn. The sea feels tense, electric. One wrong move and the calm strait could ignite in seconds. Both ships hold their line, steady but alert. The mission is routine on paper, a freedom of navigation transit, nothing more. But everyone aboard knows it's a message written in steel. The strait is international water, not a private gate. The Chinese ship's loudspeakers crackle in Mandarin, demanding they turn away. The British frigate responds coolly on open channel. We are operating in accordance with international law. For a moment, silence, only the sound of waves and distant jet engines. The Taiwan Strait just 80 miles wide, yet every mile is charged with history and pride. Merchant ships move through these waters every day, carrying fuel, food, and microchips that power the world's phones, cars, and factories. USS Higgins and HMS Richmond sail here to keep that route open. Their mission sounds simple: uphold freedom of navigation. But in this narrow stretch of sea, every turn of the rudder can send a message or trigger a confrontation that echoes far beyond Asia. On radar, the Chinese Type 52D destroyer mirrors their path, holding a steady distance of 5 nautical miles. Above, a KQ-200 patrol aircraft circles like a hawk, its sensors sweeping every movement. Voices on the bridge stay measured, professional, but tension sits heavy in the air. To the crews, this isn't a drill. It's a test of resolve, a silent conversation written in the language of angles, distance, and nerve. Inside the CIC, officers track each ping and bearing. If they close in, we'll adjust course, but we won't yield, the captain says evenly, eyes fixed on the scope. He knows cameras on deck are streaming live, watched by thousands back home. Each move might become the next headline or the next spark. Outside, the sea looks calm, but beneath that calm, two nations measure each other's will. The air hums with quiet defiance. A seaman wipes sweat from his brow, never looking away from the screen. The British frigate holds steady beside Higgins, a reminder that the US is not alone. Across the strait, the Chinese destroyer's guns stay trained but silent, yet one flicker, one order could change everything. Because here, freedom of the seas isn't an idea, it's a test lived moment by moment. If you were standing on that bridge right now, would you hold course or turn away? Press 1 to stand firm, 9 if you'd pull back. 7:10 local time. The first warning hits the bridge. New contact, low altitude, closing fast. The sound of the radar alarm cuts through the air. The crew snaps into motion. The Chinese KQ-200 patrol aircraft has dropped altitude, slicing across the formation at less than 500 feet. On the deck of USS Higgins, sailors brace against the shockwave as the plane roars overhead. A heartbeat later, the British frigate HMS Richmond reports surface echoes 2 fast boats approaching from the west, weaving through merchant lanes. Condition 1, all stations. The red lights flood the corridors. Doors seal, engines hum at full power. The Type 52D destroyer to the west shifts formation, edging closer, bow cutting through the wake of the US ship. Its gun turret begins to track, slowly but deliberately. The American Combat Systems officer watches the targeting radar spike on his console. The Higgins commander raises the radio handset. "Plan Navy vessel, this is USS Higgins. You are operating dangerously close. Maintain safe distance." Silence for a beat, then a cold voice replies in English. "US vessel, you are entering Chinese waters. Leave immediately." The message hangs in the air, as if daring them to answer. HMS Richmond cuts in firmly. "Negative. We are conducting lawful transit in international waters." Outside, waves slap against steel. The two sides now move barely 4 miles apart. Sensors track everything: heat, radar, movement, even comms chatter. the U.S. Ship's crew readies the SM-2 launchers but keeps the safeties on. The British frigate brings its Sea Scepter battery online, covering the northern arc. For now, the defense is silent but poised. Then comes the next escalation. The KQ-200 releases sonar buoys behind the American ships, a thin trail floating like breadcrumbs. It's not an attack, but it's a challenge, marking the U.S. position for every Chinese ship within range. The response from Higgins is measured. The ship fires a long sonar ping deep and resonant across the strait. The tone rolls through the water, unmistakable. "We see you!" For several long minutes, both sides hold their course. Engines roar, sensors hum, and the horizon trembles with restraint. One wrong command, one nervous twitch, and this standoff could explode into something no one can control. 7:28 local time. The calm begins to crack. The Chinese destroyer suddenly veers 10 degrees starboard, cutting closer to Higgins' path. Alarms trigger again. Collision alert. The American helmsman adjusts course 2 degrees, just enough to avoid impact, but not enough to signal retreat. The two steel giants now move less than 2 miles apart, throwing white spray between them. Every crew member can see the red flag flying from the other ship's mast. Above them, the KQ-200 banks hard, releasing metallic chaff that glitters like silver rain before falling into the sea. It's a taunt, a reminder that the sky belongs to whoever dares to hold it. Higgins responds by launching a drone of its own, an MQ-8 Fire Scout that hums into the gray clouds to keep an eye above. The tactical feed shows the Chinese ship powering up its deck guns. The tension is now physical, vibrating through the hull, every bolt alive with pressure. Inside the Combat Information Center, voices overlap. Range, 3,800 yards. Bearing steady. The captain keeps his tone calm, eyes never leaving the screen. Maintain course. Do not provoke, but do not yield. The British frigate slides forward on the flank, its Sea Scepter launchers tracking the sky. The sound of the ocean is gone now, replaced by the thrum of engines and heartbeats pounding in sync. A sudden flash splits the horizon, not a missile, but a flare from the Chinese destroyer, slicing through the clouds like a warning shot. The crew of Higgins barely flinches. "Copy that. Visual flare. No return fire," the captain orders. He knows this isn't just tactics, it's psychological warfare. The goal is to make the other side blink first, to prove who commands the sea. Minutes stretch like hours. Sweat beads on foreheads. Fingers hover over triggers. On the bridge, the crew barely breathes as both ships mirror each other's movements. The strait feels smaller, the silence heavier, like the ocean itself is waiting for someone to break it. If you think Higgins should stand firm until the last warning, press 1. If you think they should de-escalate before it's too late, press 9. Your call decides who keeps control of the strait. 7:45 local time. Just when it seems the standoff might cool, a new signal appears low, fast, erratic. The radar officer frowns. Multiple contacts, bearing 310. Speed too slow for jets, too fast for boats. The captain leans in. The shapes flicker, then multiply. "Drones," he mutters. "Surface swarm." On deck, the horizon shimmers tiny wakes racing toward the formation. Each craft is barely the size of a jet ski. Their radar signatures smaller than birds. The Chinese destroyer turns away, clearing their path. The truth hits fast. It's not attacking, it's guiding the drones in. Higgins, possible unmanned surface vehicles inbound. The British officer calls. Estimate 20 plus. The US commander reacts instantly. Deploy Nixie decoys. Activate CIWS. The ship's hum deepens as defenses come alive. On the monitors, white blips close in hundreds of meters per second. The first wave hits radar range, flooding screens with static. Higgins fires the MAC-38 autocannon, bursts of orange tearing across gray seas. One drone shatters, another dives and vanishes. HMS Richmond joins in, its 30mm guns snapping precise bursts. Every second feels like a coin flip between order and chaos. "Speed increasing!" a sailor shouts. The swarm splits, half veering toward Richmond, half toward Higgins. The bridge shakes from gunfire. Seawater sprays across the deck. Through the drone feed, the targets appear small, fast, packed with explosives. A flash one detonates early, triggering a chain of white plumes. The blast rocks both ships, but the line holds. Smoke drifts low across the waves, curling between the Allied vessels. Silence. The crew knows what it means. The next wave will be faster, smarter, and closer. The standoff has become a hunt, and the hunters are now machines. 7:58 local time. Smoke still hangs low when the next wave appears bigger, faster, and perfectly coordinated. The radar screen lights up with a dozen new contacts, all closing in tight formation. Incoming swarm, bearing 305! The captain's voice cuts through the chaos. All stations engage at will! The ship roars to life. Higgins unleashes its CIWS, the closed-in weapon system spitting fire at 4,500 rounds per minute. Tracers streak across the sea, carving orange arcs through the smoke. 1, 2, 3 drones explode, spray and shrapnel raining down over the bow. But more keep coming, zigzagging through the debris like mechanical predators hunting blood. HMS Richmond joins the fight, its Sea-Scepter missiles firing in clean vertical bursts. Each launch shakes the air, leaving trails of smoke that twist above the waves. Splash! 3 confirmed. A voice shouts from the CIC. Still, 5 contacts remain. The British frigate banks slightly, giving Higgins a clear line of fire. The 2 ships move in perfect rhythm. One guards the air, the other holds the sea. A rogue wave slams the hull, rocking the deck. Through the haze, one drone slips low, skimming the surface at breakneck speed. "Brace for impact!" someone yells. The CIWS swivels, locks, and fires a final burst. The drone erupts in a blinding flash metal fragments, showering the water. The shockwave rolls across the deck, shaking loose panels, filling the air with salt and smoke. For a heartbeat, silence. Then muffled cheers echo from both crews. The last echoes of gunfire fade, radar clears, and the sea returns to uneasy calm. The crew exhales, faces pale but unbroken. They've held the line, but everyone knows this is just a pause, not peace. The captain lowers his headset. "Maintain readiness. If another wave comes, we meet it head-on." Beside him, the British officer nods slowly. The 2 ships steady themselves in formation, their flags still flying defiantly in the wind. If you think the Allied ships proved their resolve today, press 1. If you believe this is only the first round of something far greater, press 9 and tell us which side you'd stand with. 8:25 local time. The strait lies quiet again, too quiet. The sea that roared with gunfire minutes ago now reflects the pale morning Sunday. Higgins and Richmond drift side by side, smoke trailing faintly from their decks. Crewmen check damage, sweep debris, and count breaths. No one speaks of victory. They all know this was a warning, not an end. Reports start flowing in. The swarm drones were remotely launched from China's coast, likely from hidden barges disguised as fishing boats. Analysts aboard the ships whisper the same thought. This was a test. A probe to measure Allied reaction time, accuracy, and nerve. And now, somewhere across the water, someone has that data and is already planning the next move. In the operations room, the captain sends his final report. Engagement complete. No casualties. Area secured. The words sound calm, but his eyes stay on the map, tracing the next route south toward the South China Sea. Everyone knows what's next. This was the rehearsal, not the show. A message written in noise and fire, meant to be seen by the world. As the sun climbs higher, both ships resume their course. Their mission, freedom of navigation, remains the same, but its weight feels heavier now. The price of that freedom is counted in drones, data, and sleepless eyes. Across the strait, Chinese patrols continue their shadow dance, never too close, never too far. The silence feels like a drawn breath waiting to break. For the sailors who fought through the morning, this day will never fade. They've seen how fragile peace truly is, how war hides just a heartbeat away. The calm ocean stretches wide, but every ripple feels like a question. If you think this confrontation will deter future aggression, press 1. If you believe it's only the start of something far greater, press 9. And tell us in the comments what you think happens next. The horizon clears. The ships push forward, and the sea waits quiet, watching and far from calm. It's 7:04 a.m. on the 12th of October 2025 in the Philippine Sea, 400 kilometers east of Luzon at 17.2 degrees north, 127.6 degrees east. Alarms rip through the carrier USS Ronald Reagan. On the screens, a cold trace slides under the waves, too near, too quiet. Unknown contact, bearing 085, range 3 miles. CIC snaps awake. Sailors sprint to battle stations. The deck shudders as turbines spool. An E-2D spins up. An MH-60R crews for launch. Radios crackle. Hold fire, hold lock. Outside, the ocean boils in patches as the task group tightens its ring. Cruisers and destroyers shifting to shield the carrier. Then the surface parts. A dark hull breaks into daylight Chinese Yuan class. Nose wet, mast bare, cameras roll, sonar tapes. Every second matters because this is the nightmare nobody talks about but everyone trains for. A hostile sub surfacing inside the bubble. One wrong call means collisions, flares, and headlines, maybe worse. The next minute decides whether this stays a scare or becomes a crisis. The Philippine Sea isn't just blue water, it's a lifeline for fuel, food, and microchips linking continents. Hour by hour, tankers and freighters cross this corridor, feeding cities from Los Angeles to Tokyo. At its center sails the USS Ronald Reagan, flanked by Antietam, Shoup, and Mustin. Their mission: keep the lanes open, no surprises. For weeks, the air near Luzon has felt tight. Chinese patrol planes hovered on radar's edge, and fishing boats loitered with too many antennas. Then came a shadow below a Yuan-class submarine, silent on AIP. It didn't drift by chance. It came to test how close it could get before the US reacted, and how far discipline could hold when danger surfaced. Inside the Reagan's Combat Information Center, voices stay low but tense. No aggressive moves. Record everything. Every ping, every propeller turn, every mast flick is priceless data. Analysts in Yokosuka would call this a jackpot. Enemy signatures captured without firing a shot. Logged clean. That data becomes leveraged training files, threat profiles, and sharper tactics for the next encounter. But the line is razor thin. A sonar lock could look like a threat. One wrong radio call, and the Pacific becomes a courtroom where both sides argue with missiles. Insurance spikes. Allies wonder if the sea is still safe. Credibility, once lost, takes years to rebuild. That's why the group leans on calm precision. Spy 1D watches, SLQ-32 listens, and SQR-19 drags for whispers. Overhead, an E-2D and MH-60R keep the sub in sight without crossing the line. On deck, rotors spin and destroyers tighten the ring. The message is steady and clear. We see you, we're ready, and we won't be the first to blink. This is defense through patience, turning tension into intelligence. Now it's your turn. Who handled the pressure better? Press 1 if you trust US discipline, or 9 if you think China's sub had the edge this time. 7:04 a.m. turns into 7:05. On board the USS Shoup, sonar screens pulse in blue and green. Contact confirmed, depth 120 meters, speed 8 knots, course 090. The report cuts through the control room. The MH-60R Seahawk call sign Night 614 launches from Reagan's deck, dipping low over the waves. Its sonar buoy splashes down and hums to life. Seconds later, the pattern comes back crystal clear. Chinese Yuan class, no doubt. Target identified. No hostile actions. Hold posture. Commander Blake keeps his tone calm. Around him, the crew breathes in sync, every console alive with light. The SQR-19 tows behind, feeding constant pings through the tactical net. The sub is close 3 nautical miles, port side of the carrier. Through the periscope feed from a nearby drone, the black shape of the Yuan glides upward, breaking the surface like a whale breaching. A shimmer of seawater slides off its hull. The red star of the People's Liberation Army Navy catches sunlight. Every American ship in the formation shifts slightly, tightening the ring around the carrier. Guns stay silent, but every finger hovers near a trigger guard. O'Regan's flight deck sailor freeze mid-motion. One wrong signal, and this morning becomes history's next incident. The E-2D Hawkeye circles high, keeping its radar trained on the submarine's mast. The SLQ-32 suite listens every spike in frequency, every blip in the electromagnetic noise. For intelligence officers, this is a gift wrapped in risk. A full acoustic and electronic fingerprint of a modern Chinese submarine delivered to them for free. A voice breaks over the radio. Plan submarine. This is the United States Navy vessel Ronald Reagan. You are operating within a carrier defense perimeter. Maintain position and prepare to be escorted clear. The message is firm, precise, and most importantly, recorded. The Yuan doesn't answer. It drifts, engines off, letting the current decide its fate. Cameras zoom in. The silhouette hangs steady on the waves. 10,000 tons of American steel watch one foreign hull, both sides holding their breath. To the untrained eye, nothing happens. But inside every ship, systems are locked, missiles are primed, and 100 people are doing the hardest thing in war, nothing. The ocean feels different now, heavier, charged. Every ship in the strike group moves just a little slower, careful not to provoke. The Chinese submarine floats on the surface, motionless. Its black hull glistening under the Sunday cameras zoom in from the USS Mustin. Radar crews whisper updates. For the Americans, the mission has changed. Survive the tension without firing a shot. At 7:10 a.m., the Yuan's mast rises again. Its periscope turns slow, deliberate, scanning the carrier's deck. For a moment, it points directly at the Ronald Reagan's island tower. That's a visual lock, a sailor mutters. Hands tighten on controls. The Spy 1D radar hums, tracking every movement. The SLQ-32 picks up a faint pulse radio chatter in Mandarin, bouncing through the static. Commander Blake gives a short order. Shift formation. Mustin, move 10 degrees east. Antietam, take overwatch. Keep her boxed. Engines roar back to life. The ships slide into a new ring, their wakes crossing white lines on the sea. The MH-60R circles above, sonar deployed, blades thumping hard against the wind. The crew can almost feel the distance closing 3 miles, then 2.5. Then a new signal flashes. The Yuan's engines spark. It's diving again, submerging, bearing 083, depth increasing fast. Sonar techs call out numbers as the sub vanishes beneath the waves. The Americans track it, ping after ping, until the signal fades. It's gone, but nobody relaxes. The ocean is quiet again. Too quiet. Hold positions, Blake says. We'll wait her out. He knows the sub could still be down there, listening, learning, testing how much the US will reveal. Above, the Hawkeye keeps watch, scanning for anything that breaks the surface. The tension shifts from sight to sound. Every creak of steel, every wave slap feels louder. Minutes drag by. Coffee cups sit untouched. The crew's discipline becomes the only weapon that matters. This isn't a battle of firepower, it's one of nerves. And both sides know the first mistake decides who wins. If you were here, would you hold your fire or push first to break the silence? Press 1 if you trust US.com under pressure, or 9 if you think China's sub held the stronger hand beneath the waves. At 7:17 a.m., radar screens fall quiet. For a moment, the ocean seems calm, too calm. Then a sharp tone cuts through. New contact, bearing 080, range 2 miles, shallow and fast. It's not the same sub. This one moves like a dart, slicing through the thermocline. The MH-60R Seahawk dips its sonar again and catches a faint metallic echo smaller than a submarine. Analysts recognize it instantly. An unmanned underwater vehicle likely controlled by the Yuan. So the sub wasn't retreating, it was bait. Multiple contacts confirmed, the sonar tech reports. Small blips bloom across the display, weaving erratic paths. USS Mustin shifts course, and Antietam widens the ring. Deploy acoustic decoys, Blake orders. Canisters splash down, spinning streams of false echoes to confuse the swarm. For minutes, the fight is silent. No missiles, no explosions, just sensors and nerves. The SQR-19 sonar feeds steady pulses. The operators listen to the faint buzzing of underwater drones circling the carrier. They aren't armed, but they're recording everything: propeller noise, hull vibration, every whisper of steel. A live intelligence grab unfolding in real time. Then one drone breaks away, surging toward the Ronald Reagan's port side. Inbound object 50 meters, alarms blare. The MH-60R dives low, skimming waves. A single flare fires a warning only. The drone halts, spins, and sinks from sight. Silence returns, heavier than before. The crew understands now. The Yuan surfacing wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated test, using drones to see exactly how far America would go before breaking the calm. 7:25 a.m. The ocean holds its breath. The U.S. formation tightens. Hulls cutting through low waves. Radar sweeping in arcs. Somewhere below, the Yuan waits silent, patient. Every system on the USS Shoup hums at combat power, but the rule stands: no fire unless fired upon. New contact bearing 086, depth 150, closing fast. The sonar team calls out. The Yuan is back, fully submerged, moving straight for the carrier group. Commander Blake steadies his voice. Mark and track. Do not engage. Above, the MH-60R Seahawk drops another sonar buoy. Echoes bounce off the deep. Then it happens. The periscope breaks the surface, carving a silver line. For an instant, it looks like an attack run. All ships, defensive posture, Blake commands. Mustin swings broadside. Antietam powers its guns. On USS Ronald Reagan, alarms wail as sailors brace. But the Yuan doesn't strike. Instead, it turns sharply starboard, dives and slides beneath the formation. Crossing under, depth 200 meters. Sonar screams as the sub passes under the carrier's keel. Every ship holds steady, no weapons, no panic, just controlled precision. On the Reagan's bridge, tension melts into silence. No shots, no collision, just a ghost in the deep. Data flows to Yokosuka, where analysts will dissect every ping and frequency spike. The meaning is clear. The Yuan just cut through America's shield, not to attack, but to show it could, and to record how the US would react. For the Navy, it's proof that victory isn't always about firepower. Sometimes, discipline beats aggression. For Beijing, it's evidence their submarines can slip close enough to test the limits of American nerve. The sea turns calm again, but it's the calm after a warning. The next test won't be this quiet. On the network, the SPY-1D tapes roll. SLQ-32 dumps spectrum captures, and the SQR-19 trail yields the sub's cavitation voice. The E-2D Hawkeye logs mast timings. The Seahawk crew notes dive rates and turns circles. Tiny numbers, hard-earned under pressure, become the playbook for the next time a black hole threads the ring. If you were on that bridge, would you call it restraint or weakness? Press 1 if you believe the US won by control, or 9 if you think China just proved a point beneath the waves. By 7:40 a.m., the sea has swallowed the last trace of the Yuan. The US formation drifts back to patrol speed, engines low and steady. To the untrained eye, it's over. But inside every ship, encrypted files fill with sonar, radar, and radio data that will feed the Navy's growing intelligence vault. The sailors know they just lived through a textbook encounter, one that ended not with fire, but with silence. Aboard the USS Ronald Reagan, Commander Blake begins his report. No shots fired, no damage, objective achieved. The words seem simple, but everyone who stood watch knows the weight behind them. Restraint takes courage. It's easier to pull a trigger than to trust your training when a foreign submarine glides beneath your ship. In Yokosuka, Japan, analysts replay every second. SPY-1D radar returns, SQR-19 sonar traces, and even faint SLQ-32 spikes become new pages in the Navy's playbook. Every sound logged, every hesitation timed. For the US, this wasn't just a standoff. It was a harvest of intelligence, a quiet victory that will echo through future patrols. But the story doesn't end here. In Beijing, the Yuan's officers will be praised for daring to approach an American carrier and live to tell it. They'll study how long the US took to react, how tight the formation closed, and what frequencies tracked them. To them, this too was success, a chance to test American resolve without crossing the line. Both sides walk away claiming victory. One proved it could reach out, the other proved it could stay calm. The Pacific remains quiet, but that calm hums with tension, the pause before the next test. Out here, winning isn't about who fires first, it's about who learns more before the next encounter. And when another shadow rises beneath the waves, the question will return: who's really in control? If you were watching from that deck, whose side would you bet on next time? Press 1 if you stand with US discipline, or 9 if you think China's nerve will break the silence first.